Welcome to Haunted Talks, the official podcast of The Haunted Walk, offering ghost tours and paranormal adventures in Kingston, Ottawa, and Toronto, Ontario. My name is Jim Dean. I am the creative director, and we really appreciate you joining us for today's episode. Perhaps it should not surprise us that the town of Kendal, England, would be home to a chilling ghost story. The area has a rich and long history. It was the site of a Roman fort, originally built in 90 AD on a pre-existing Iron Age fortification, and served that purpose on and off until about 270 AD. The stone remains of the fort linger just below the surface of a nearby field today, with Roman artifacts still being discovered. The village is home to two castles, including Kendal Castle, which was built in the 12th century. The best-known family associated with the castle was the Parr family, including Queen Catherine Parr, the sixth wife of King Henry VIII. There is even a long-standing and contested rumor that she was born at the castle. But perhaps the most interesting part of the village of Kendal, from our paranormal perspective, is that it has the nickname Old Grey Town because of its many limestone buildings and alleyways. Areas with high concentrations of limestone often seem to have increased reports of ghostly activity. As an example, our very haunted hometown of Kingston, Ontario, is known as the Limestone City. Our story in Kendal takes us back to a cold winter's night in 1861, when an unexpected encounter led to a bone-chilling discovery. But before we get to that, the past month or so, we have been very busy at the Haunted Walk. With restrictions lifting, we are in the process of restarting our in-person tour business. And I'm very happy to report, as of today, almost all of our tours are now up and running, including many of the experiences we were unable to offer last year. And these experiences include, in Toronto, the original Haunted Walk, Spirits of the Distillery District Ghost Tour, Campus Secrets Inspectors at the University of Toronto, and Ghosts of Black Creek Pioneer Village. In Kingston, Ontario, we have the original Haunted Walk, as well as Ghosts of Fort Henry. In between Kingston and Ottawa in Eastern Ontario, we will be also offering tours every Saturday night at Upper Canada Village in Morrisburg, Ontario. In Ottawa, we have the original Haunted Walk, as well as our Ghosts of the Mackenzie King Estate tour. If you would like to try your own hand at being part of a paranormal investigation, we are going to give you that opportunity this summer, along with our paranormal investigation partners at Phantoms of Yore. We'll be hitting a number of sites in Eastern and Central Ontario throughout the summer, but the first one up, the last weekend in July, is at the Sir John Johnston Manor House in Williamstown, Ontario, just east of Cornwall. There are paranormal reports there dating back over a century. If you've ever wanted to have the opportunity to play around with all of the amazing equipment that you see on TV and have a little fun in the dark, it is an absolute must-do for paranormal enthusiasts. For information about our various ghost tours and paranormal investigations that are upcoming, please visit our website, which is hauntedwalk.com. Now that we can, we would absolutely love to see you out on tour. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and rate the show wherever you listen to us. And we'd love to connect with you on social media, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now TikTok, all of them at Haunted Walk. The following story was first published in the Kendal Mercury in January of 1831, and by April, it had been making appearances in newspapers across the world. The article is entitled, "A Murder Revealed by a Ghost." At the high end of Strandone Gate, in Kitty Gibson's yard, stand some very old buildings. And in one of these, a part which faces the street and was, about a century ago, a public house, known by the sign of the Black Horse, the following strange occurrences took place a few days ago. There is a cottage at the upper end of this yard, which is occupied by a man named Joseph Allinson. And one of the inmates, a young woman of the name Marin Allen, sister to Mrs. Allinson, who was bedridden and nearly blind for some time past, and an object of sympathy on account of her suffering. She is the medium through which the story, now in circulation, has been set afloat. It appears on Monday evening last, whilst some 5 or 6 men and women were sitting by the fireside downstairs. All at once, they were considerably alarmed by some very heavy sounds, as if someone was knocking violently in a room upstairs. This noise continued for some time. Knock, knock, knock. Louder and louder. So much so that the concussion shook the house as if it were about to be brought down altogether. One person stating that the chair in which he was sitting was lifted up. What could be the cause of this fearful noise? It was suggested that perhaps the young woman, ill in bed and helpless, might have fallen on the floor and was knocking for assistance. On proceeding to her apartment, she gave forth this curious revelation. An apparition had visited her, which she was permitted to behold for a time, and then her eyesight left, as before, the figure of a man dressed in black, of a grim and rough aspect. She describes something breathed in her face, and that the lighted candle in the room burned dim, and finally either went out of its own accord or was extinguished by some unseen hand. On acquiring sufficient utterance, she inquired of the ghost, in the name of the Holy Trinity, why she was troubled with his presence. On the 3rd time asking, the spectre spoke in a thick, husky, hollow voice, telling her, whilst pointing in the direction below, to follow him to the cellar of the house, where on removing the flagstone on the hearth, something would be found buried, which was the special purpose of his visit to reveal. On stating this, the form of the unearthly visitor vanished like a dim shadow. Slowly and silently, the parties in the house went to the locality in the cellar pointed out by the man in black, dug up the hearth flag, and found a quantity of bones, which yet remain for the inspection of the curious, buried a little below the surface. A quantity of hops in good preservation were found scattered here and there over the soil. These bones, human they are said to be by some competent judges in such manners have been examined by scores of people. Their state of decay leads to the supposition that a long, long time has elapsed since they were put beneath the ground. It is to be regretted that the ghost did not reveal more of the secrets of his prison house. It may be he was forbidden to do so. No one can tell. Only that conjecture is rife as the history of these canonized bones. Whether some foul, unnatural murder has been committed of ancient date, long hidden, but now come out under these circumstances, we are not prepared to say. The revelation and discovery so far are the foremost topics of remark, both in town and country, from the latter of which a great number of dealers in the marvelous have been said to satisfy themselves as to the truth of what they had heard. Thank you so much for joining us for the episode. We hope you will have the opportunity to join us this summer in Kingston, Ottawa, or Toronto for one of our ghost tours or paranormal investigations. And information about everything we are up to can be found on our website, which is hauntedwalk.com, including our online experiences for those of you a little further away from the cities in which we operate. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and rate Haunted Talks wherever you listen to us. It's very helpful in getting people aware of the show, and of course, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now TikTok at Haunted Walk. As always, a special thanks to our Haunted Talks team, including our awesome audio editor, Michelle Dennis, and Kevin McLeod at incompetech.filmmusic.io for the additional music. Full music credits can be found on our website. Until we meet again, sweet dreams.